Greetings and welcome to Anita Talks History and Genealogy. I'm so pleased that you all could be here, and I still have allergies going on, but I think I'll be okay. It's a beautiful day out here, always a beautiful day, um, and we're about to go into the 4th of July, and it is a mess. The current administration has messed around and messed up the 250th year celebration for everybody, for all Americans, the ones that supported them and the ones that don't support them. So we're, but we, you all know who we are. We're not surprised. These folks love it when they think that we, people of color, are suffering. When Trump is, calling us names, making fun of Obama and Michelle, they love it. But that passes. That's just name calling. Like what they used to say when, the old folks. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So you can call all the names you want to when we're sitting up there looking at you and your people deteriorating before our eyes, losing a needless war that you started with Iran, and you're and about to tank the American economy, not the United States economy, and trying to tank the Americans, the continent's economy, going after Venezuela and Cuba and making people suffer needlessly. So that's where we are today. It's not a complaint. It's a report. It just is what it is. And it's nothing new to those of us who have been here, whose ancestors were enslaved on their own lands, whose ancestors may have been brought here during slavery, and whose people are targeted by this person whose people are no more than 3 generations old, and we have been here. We have been here. My ancestors were here long before Columbus landed. And this person wants to come to our homeland here in these United States, which they call the United States, and come here and, turn back history to slavery. Because being a person here with wives that are themselves immigrants, who himself is barely a citizen, they want to get the enjoyment that the colonial governments got when they came here. And I want to make it clear, in my opinion, and this is Anita Talks History and Genealogy, and I have opinions. And I'm entitled to my opinion, just like DJT is entitled to his opinion when he's calling people names, when he's going around destroying historical monuments and trying to remove anything that mentions slavery or the fact that indigenous people were here before colonization. These people want to make this United States and the Americas all white. That's how they're coming across, that they want to remove any person of color. Now, these are people that don't even want to work, don't want to work in the fields, don't want to do any hard work, but yet they don't want black and brown people here. They don't want us here on our ancestral homelands. We're bothering them. Our presence bothers them. And my question is, who would be the new slaves? But before all that, I'm gonna say this is my opinion. This is, I'm not saying Whether any of this is fact or fiction or whatever, it's just my opinion from what I have observed. As a person that's been on this earth 79 years and will be on this earth 80 years in September, I think I have some observations that may make sense and may, um, get folks to thinking. Um, and This is, I'm going to welcome everyone to Anita Talks History and Genealogy. This is uh, a YouTube. I'm on YouTube, Anita Talks History and Genealogy, and I want you to please, those of you who have not, please subscribe. And if you can, please get a paid subscription. You can also donate at Venmo at ANITA-WILS-4. You can also check out my merchandise. Those are ways that this channel is supported, So, yeah. So I'm talking about current events because July the 4th, the 250th anniversary is coming up. And I have numerous ancestors who were in the Revolutionary War. Um, Charles Lewis, his brother Ambrose Lewis, Raleigh Penn, his brother Robert Penn, Robert's sons Jim, Billy, and John were in the Revolutionary War. Another ancestor was Philip Cooper III. He was my ancestor Jane Cooper's brother. And some of my Evans ancestors were in the Revolutionary War. I have numerous ancestors who were in the Revolutionary War and who will not be celebrated because of DJT, whose people were not even here during, they just barely got here during, I think it was prior to World War II, the grandfather came. But they were never in any military. Yet my ancestors have been in every war this country has had. Not only the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, you name it. My ancestors have been there. My father and uncles were in World War II. They always find us to go to war for them. And once we come back, or our ancestors came back, they came back to racism and prejudice. And, just like after World War II, what did they do? The Russians actually won World War II. Let's put that record straight. But immediately upon coming back, the African Americans who fought in World War II were pushed back, were killed, lynched in the South. Didn't get any benefits. My father barely got benefits from being in World War II. The same with my uncle. They all worked, came home from the war and worked. My dad had 2 jobs. He always had more than one job. He had a job. Sometimes he'd have a job and a hustle, but he worked in a steel mill, and then he was working at the Veterans Administration office. Always worked, and died of cancer, penniless. So this is after World War II, the same thing after the Korean War, which was not even a declared war, the same thing after Vietnam. When I'm saying our, I'm talking about our generation, the generation that went to Vietnam. The young men, the brothers that were in class with me that were headed to college, because as much as they don't want to talk about it, a lot of our young people back then were going to the HBCUs. So the brothers were going to college. They were studying to be dentists. They were studying to be doctors and lawyers, and They had futures planned. And then they were drafted into the war in Vietnam. They came home, if they came home alive at all, with, drug addictions, came home with Agent Orange, sick from Agent Orange and cancer and just all kinds of wicked stuff, not done to them by the Vietnamese, but by our own government. That's Monsanto, Agent Orange. And a lot of them are homeless right now and still in prison. And they served our country, you know. And that doesn't mean that there weren't white people. There was white folks too, poor white people that went to the Vietnam War and came back messed up. And anyway, but this is the history of the United States, which DJT is now repeating, and their administration is trying to remove us from the record, and they're so dumb that they think they can do it. The record is not being kept by you all physically. That's one way that records are kept. But, honey, Creator is keeping the records. Creator, that one these so-called Christians claim that the Creator who they claim to worship, the Christians, the Christian right, they don't even know that God, that Creator, is keeping records too. So we draw down from that, from our ancestors, from many, many ways that our history is being taught. We pass it down orally. They try to say, they don't even have no written records. But the written records you all have, the majority of them are lies. Just because you put it on paper does not make it the truth. So we do have oral histories. I have a history that was passed down from mother to mother to mother to daughter, from mother to daughter, from mother to daughter. That was given to me, that I was able to document, that had not been documented, and I was able to document it. So I'm grateful for that. And before I go, I want to, the reason that I'm here, because this was deep on my mind about us as this, the 258th anniversary is coming up, and we need to contemplate our next moves. We are doing very good at not shopping at places that don't respect us. And we are also doing good about talking about supporting each other's businesses. And regardless of, I'm Afro-Indigenous, but my history is with African Americans, the ones they call African Americans. And we are united because of the shared history that we have, the shared history that I have with Native people and their suffering, and their even now with the young women who are being killed, who are disappearing in Indian country. Yeah. And the young women and our children, women and children that are disappearing here. We need to focus on our people. We need to keep account of our people. But we had several independent political parties. So as we are thinking about, voting for, Democrat, Republican, or whatever, we need to remember that it is not beyond our capabilities to build our own political party. We have started several independent political parties here in the United States because the American two-party system makes it incredibly difficult for third parties to win major federal elections. These parties were usually formed to protest racial exclusion, build local political power, or organize for civil rights. So on that note, these were positive movements. The most prominent independent black political parties in U.S. history span across different eras. the Lowndes County Freedom Organization, 1965. It was founded in Alabama by local activists alongside Stokely Carmichael and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. The mission was that black residents in Lowndes County, Alabama, who made up the majority of the population but were entirely barred from voting by the white-controlled local Democratic Party. They formed this independent party to register voters and run black candidates for local office. The legacy: to meet a state requirement for a party logo, they chose a Black Panther. This directly inspired the name and iconography of the broader Black Panther Party founded in California a year later. This is some history that some of us may not even have heard about. Then there's the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party in 1964. In the origin, it was formed by civil rights icons Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, and Bob Moses. And we have an Ella Baker Center here, and I do a lot of activism with the Ella Baker Center. And a lot of people don't know that she was one of the formers of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. And their mission was to, the official Mississippi Democratic Party at the time was fiercely segregationist and blocked black citizens from participating. The MFDP was created as an alternative branch to challenge the legitimacy of the all-white regular delegation. At the 1964 Democratic National Convention, Fannie Lou Hamer gave a televised speech about the violence black voters faced, famously asking, "Is this America?" While they were not fully seated that year, their protest forced the National Democratic Party to ban segregated state delegations in future elections. And now DJT is trying to go back to the segregation by redistricting and different tactics to weaken the African American vote. Because in his stupid mind, he is believing that, we would not, in any great, in any great, in any way that would benefit him, would vote for him in any great numbers. That's what I meant to say. We wouldn't, and most white folks would not vote for him in any great numbers. So he's actually going after us to weaken our ability to vote, which they already did that, after slavery, when we were trying to make our, to build our community and our economic status. They did that, and he's just going, with using his 2025, what is it? His 2025 rule book or whatever they're writing to come after us and to weaken our ability to pick the candidate that we feel will represent us best. So, and now we come to, so that was the one that Fannie Lou Hamer was a part of. And it was successful. And then we have the National Black Independent Political Party, which was formed in 1980. And I was a member of the National Black Independent Political Party. It was formed out of the momentum of the 1972 National Black Political Convention in Gary, Indiana, which brought together thousands of black activists, nationalists, and elected officials. Its mission was to establish, build a unified permanent political party separate from both Democrats and Republicans, aiming to achieve self-determination and corporate economic power for black communities. The outcome, the party ultimately fractured due to internal ideologies, debates between Marxist factions, and more mainstream politicians who preferred working within a Democratic Party. And it really was the Marxists who came in and and did not want, the Marxists, who are a European party, had some of us that they were in control of, and sent them to destroy our party. And it became a thing where we couldn't even meet nowhere without being threatened by those people that they sent in. And that's why, these people who sit up there and talk about, oh, you folks are Marxists or whatever. I'm not against the Marxists. They're no worse or better than the Republicans and the Democrats, because all of those parties have come after us and tried to weaken us. And the same thing happened with the Marxists and the National Black Independent Political Party. So that really weakened us and caused fractures in the party. And then we had so that one ended. Then we had the local and state alternative parties. The United Citizens Party, which was in 1969, formed in South Carolina to successfully elect black candidates to local school boards and the state legislature. The National Democratic Party of Alabama, 1968, a heavily black-led alternative third party that successfully got its candidates on the ballot and won local offices in Alabama when the mainstream state Democratic Party refused to integrate. And while most integrated into the two-party system, while these third parties achieved notable local successes, they did not become permanent fixtures. And we were co-opted at every level. So by the late 1960s and 1970s, the National Democratic Party began actively incorporating black voters and politicians. This structural shift led prominent leaders to form groups like the Congressional Black Caucus to wield influence as a powerful voting bloc inside a major party, rather than fighting a system from the outside. And I think that we need a party. We need to bring our young people to the table, not as and not in any party that doesn't allow them to have a voice. The future belongs to our young people. So that's my interest. And I want them to leave our young people alone. I want them to not have a draft and take our young people and send them to fight a war, an imperialist war that will only benefit a few. Will benefit the corporate interests here in the United States. And does that sound like a politics? Politics govern everything that is in this country, because they have made, in order to keep their capitalist system, which is based on slavery, based on the working class being the workers at the bottom of this pyramid, either being free or cheap labor, and all that money rising to benefit the corporations. And that is that system has no color. It uses black and brown people to exploit, because we're the ones typically at the bottom who benefit the ones at the top. But they have, through their methods, basically destroyed the middle class. And so there's a lot of people who didn't think they were going to suffer with this current regime who are suffering. And so what we're watching out for is our community, our young people. And we want them to have a life. We want them to be able to live their lives like Creator wanted them to. Creator plants flowers to grow and to bloom. He doesn't plant flowers for someone to come and step on and destroy and take away the life. It's for us to see, for us to be proud of our young people, and that's why I have my channel here to talk about history. And yes, we can form our own political party, uh, or we can just not participate in the current political party. Ooh, don't say that. Don't say that. Uh, this country is like it is because of our, you people's apathy. Are you people crazy? We can't be apathetic because we would never survive if we were apathetic. We're not the last thing that we have the pleasure of being is apathetic. So no, we're just making sure that we put ourselves at the center, just like you all put your own people at the center. And so this is my sharing for today. And I hope you all, come back with questions or, solutions, corrections. I'm here for it. This is Anita Talks History and Genealogy. And I and I want to say that I, I'm going to have a live broadcast tomorrow, Thursday, July the 2nd, July the 2nd, um, at um, at 7 p.m. Yeah, I'm going to have a live broadcast, and I'm hoping that you all will, tune in and give me some of your thoughts. Hopefully, they're positive, and that'll get us going into the weekend. So I will check with you all later, and have a good one. And also let me know what you think of this topic today, and what could I have added or left out. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone. Bye.